Yes, yeah. Good morning once again. In today's session, we will again around those building blocks of 25 principles. Try and understand what are vrittis, what are the various forms of vrittis as defined by Patanjali, what are the causes of these vrittis, and how can these vrittis be removed? Because Patanjali says that vrittis in the chitta have to be controlled, have to be removed. Yoga chitta vritti nirodha. As the vrittis in the chitta get reduced, get controlled, get subdued, get decimated, yoga happens. One reaches infiniteness. One reaches bliss. One reaches togetherness. Union takes place between the finite and the infinite, between the human and the divine, between the individual and the universal. Something phenomenal happens just by removing vrittis. So, if something phenomenal can happen just by removing the vrittis, so let us understand what these vrittis are, where are they getting generated, what is the cause of these vrittis, and how can we remove them in the Samkhya context by using certain modern techniques of visualization. How can we work on these vrittis? So we get the benefit of both what has been done psychologically today and what has been done in psychology many thousands of years back by our ancient rishis. We'll be able to merge both of them. So, to start with, uh, as I said, vritti is any modification, any change in the state of the mind, any fluctuation in the state of the mind. If there is no change, that does not mean that the mind is not there. The mind is there, but the mind is in a static condition. There are no thoughts. Thoughts mean vrittis because thought is a change in the state of the mind. Now, the first kind of vritti, which Patanjali defines, is called right knowledge. He says knowledge is a vritti. The second, he says, is wrong knowledge. So, first is right knowledge, second is wrong knowledge. Third, he says, is memory. Fourth, he says, is imagination. And the fifth, he says, is sleep, nidra. So let us look at these five in a bit of detail. What does it mean by right knowledge? And you will find one very interesting thing. All these five are actually connected to memory. Knowledge is always stored, right or wrong. Memory anyway is stored. Imagination has to be stored somewhere. Sleep is a conditioning of the mental state because we have seen so many sunrises and so many sunsets, so many dark nights. We have developed an inherent tendency of going to sleep over our past thousands and thousands of years. So even sleep is a mental conditioning. Even sleep is a kind of memory which is put to work. So all these five are coming out of memory in a way. Now, how does he define right knowledge? And what is the source of right knowledge? So Patanjali defines three ways as right knowledge. The first, he says, is perception. परसेप्शन मतलब जो हम प्रत्यक्ष रूप से अपने पांच इंद्रियों से, पांच सेंस ऑर्गन से देखते हैं, जो हम अपने आंखों से देखते हैं, कानों से सुनते हैं, नाक से जो स्मेल करते हैं, जीभ से जो टेस्ट करते हैं, स्किन से जो फील करते हैं, दैट इज द हाईएस्ट फॉर्म ऑफ नॉलेज, क्योंकि वो हमने एक्सपीरियंस किया है. Experience knowledge is always the highest form of knowledge. As per both Samkhya also and as per Patanjali also. Both of them say the same thing. Second, he says, is Anumana. Anuman means inference. If I see a fire somewhere, if I can see it, then that is pratyaksh. That is something which the eyes are actually seeing, experiencing, perceiving. So that is right knowledge. But if I'm not able to see the fire, or I'm able to see the smoke at a distance, I can infer, I can logically deduce, I can say there must be a fire there because of which the smoke is coming. So that is the Anuman, that is the inference he's talking about. Third, he says, there may be areas, there may be certain times, there may be certain places where you cannot directly experience pratyaksh through your sense organs. You are unable to experience. आप उसको खुद एहसास नहीं कर पा रहे हैं और आप उसको इन्फर भी नहीं कर पा रहे हैं. So the third method which is suggested is the technique of testimonial. You have to go by what the expert says. Because an expert is an expert on his topic, an expert on his area. So his testimonial is considered as right knowledge. So the Shastras, what they say, are considered as right knowledge. So what our rishis have said, what our munis have said, you may not understand it, you may not know it, you may not be able to experience it, you may not be able to infer it, but treat it as right knowledge. So these three, though right knowledge is a vritti, now vrittis have to go. Yoga chitta vritti nirodha. Vrittis have to be removed. Vrittis have to be reduced. Vrittis have to be controlled. Vrittis have to be subdued. So it means is whatever is right knowledge is right knowledge, but it is a vritti because it is modifying your mind. It is bringing about a change in the state of your mind. It is creating a fluctuation in your mind. It is giving you a sense of happiness or sorrow. It is giving you a different feeling. It is adding on to your nerve cells. It is creating something new. So, right knowledge is a vritti. Right knowledge also has to go. Let go of knowledge. The second, he says, is wrong knowledge. Wrong knowledge is definitely wrong knowledge. Your misunderstanding something for something else is wrong knowledge. If you, in the night, as they say popularly in Indian scriptures, you consider a rope for a snake, that is wrong knowledge. So wrong knowledge being wrong knowledge anyway has to go. It is a vritti and it is wrong knowledge. So that vritti also has to go. The third is memory. Anything which you are remembering, any memory which you are holding on to, any memory from the past is a vritti. That change which has happened in your nervous system will keep on creating new thoughts for you, new feelings for you, new memories for you. So clean the past. Remove all earlier memories because they create new thoughts. So right knowledge will create new thoughts, wrong knowledge will create new thoughts, and memory will create new thoughts. Imagination will create new thoughts. We imagine the future. We look at the future and we think of something. That is a vritti. That again is undesired. That also has to go. And when you are imagining, you are not creating. That is the biggest point which Samkhya makes, Patanjali makes. Because you actually cannot create anything new. Only that which is already in existence can be created in the sense it can change form from the cause to the effect. Anything which does not have a cause cannot come as an effect. So when you think you are imagining and creating something new, you are actually doing the cut-paste job of something old, something from your memory. If you have seen a goat and if you have seen a buffalo and you remember them both, and you cut the goat's head and cut the buffalo's head and put the buffalo's head on the goat and the goat's head on the buffalo, you think you have created. You think that is imagination. That is neither creation nor imagination. That is a memory from the past which you have modified. Because nothing new can ever come without a cause. It is called the principle of Satkarya. Sat means existence, Karya means the effect. The Sat will always do its action. Cause will create the effect because the effect is there in the cause. They go together. A seed will give a tree and a tree will give seeds. That is how this whole creation works. A sanskara will give karma and a karma will give sanskara. That is how this whole creation works. So, imagination is nothing but fanciful thinking. It is a vritti which has to be done away with. It will take you nowhere. And the fifth, he says, is modifications happen in the mind when we are sleeping, when we dream, when we see certain things. So जो भी हम अपने सपनों में देखते हैं, अपने नींद में देखते हैं, वो हमारे माइंड में बदलाव लाता है, चेंज लाता है, मॉडिफाई करता है, फ्लक्चुएशन पैदा करता है, वो वृत्ति है. ये 5 वृत्तियां हैं जिनसे कि जिनको हमको मिनिमाइज करते रहना है। अब ये कैसे मिनिमाइज होंगी? हमको धीरे धीरे इनको हटाना है। अब आप देखेंगे कि ये कहाँ पे स्टोर्ड है। ये 5 जो है वृत्तियां, ये कहाँ जनरेट होती है, कहाँ पे स्टोर होती है? तो आप देखेंगे कि ये चित्त के अंदर ही जनरेट होती है और चित्त के अंदर ही स्टोर होती है। राइट नॉलेज स्टोर हो रही है कहीं ना कहीं हमारे ब्रेन सेल्स में, हमारे मेमोरी में। उसका डेटा कहाँ से आता है? उसका डेटा अगर प्रत्यक्ष रूप से आ रहा है तो हमारे 5 इंद्रियों से आ रहा है, 5 दरवाजों से आ रहा है। किसके थ्रू आ रहा है? माइंड के थ्रू आ रहा है। उसके बाद अहंकार के थ्रू आ रहा है, उसके बाद बुद्धि के थ्रू आ रहा है। ये 3 दरवाजे पार करते हुए हमारे 5 इंद्रियों से इंफॉर्मेशन अंदर आता है। इन 3 दरवाजों पे ही हमको वो इंफॉर्मेशन जो कि हमारे काम का नहीं है, जो कि हमको योग से रोकता है, जो कि हमको गलत दिशा में ले जाता है, उसको हमको रोकना है। उस दरवाजे पे हमको वहां पे चौकीदारी करनी है। उन 5 इंद्रियों पे हमको 3 चौकीदार लगाने हैं, मन, अहंकार और बुद्धि। तो ये 5 इंद्रियों का जो वृत्तियां जो बन रही हैं वो बनना बंद हो जाएंगी। दूसरा, हमने जो अंदर अपने स्टोर कर रखा है कि ये सही है, ये राइट नॉलेज है, हमको उसको भी हटाना है। राइट नॉलेज और रॉन्ग नॉलेज दोनों ही हमको फंसा देते हैं, हमको वृत्तियों के दुनिया में डाल देते हैं, हमारे माइंड में फ्लक्चुएशन, चेंजेस, डिफरेंशिएशन लाना चालू करते हैं। और जब हमारा माइंड एक्टिव रहता है तभी हमको दुनिया में डिफरेंसेस नजर आते हैं, तभी हमको ये दुनिया अलग अलग दिखती है, लोग अलग अलग दिखते हैं, चीजें अलग अलग दिखती हैं, अलग अलग मतलब समझ में आता है। क्यों? क्योंकि हमारा माइंड फ्लक्चुएट कर रहा है, फ्लक्चुएशंस को पकड़ रहा है, डिफरेंशिएशन को देख रहा है, समझ रहा है, उसका मतलब निकाल, वृत्तियों पे काम कर रहा है माइंड। तो इसलिए वृत्तियों को हमको बंद करना है, कंट्रोल करना है, हटाना है। तो ये हो गया नॉलेज, मेमोरी। जितनी भी आपकी पास्ट मेमोरी है जिससे कि आपको कोई खुशी नहीं मिल रही है, जो कि आपके लिए एक वेट है, एक बोझ बन गया है, आपको अनहैप्पीनेस दे रहा है, आपको पेन दे रहा है, आपको सॉरो दे रहा है, आप माइंड में डिस्टर्बेंस पैदा कर रहा है, आपको स्ट्रेस दे रहा है, टेंशन दे रहा है, उसको आप रिमूव करिए, उसको आप हटाइए, उसको आप भूल जाइए, उसको आप मिटा दीजिए। तो आपकी जो मेमोरी है वो भी क्लीन होने लगेगी। और जैसे जैसे आपकी मेमोरी क्लीन होने लगेगी वैसे वैसे आपके मेमोरी के कारण जो वृत्तियां बन रही थी, अनवांटेड वृत्तिस, वो कंट्रोल में आने लगेगी। इमेजिनेशन, इमेजिनेशन जो है वो जनरली फैंसीफुल इमेजिनेशन होता है, वो रियल नहीं है, वो अभी तक हुआ नहीं है, वो फ्यूचर में है। जिस तरीके से मेमोरी पास्ट में है वो है नहीं दुनिया में, आपके अंदर ब्रेन में स्टोर हो गई है, लेकिन वो रियल वर्ल्ड में बाहर नहीं है। उसी तरीके से इमेजिनेशन भी बाहर रियल वर्ल्ड में नहीं है, वो आपके अंदर आपके नर्वस सिस्टम में, आपके ब्रेन में, आपके नर्व सेल्स में, आपके न्यूरॉन्स में आपने स्टोर कर रखा है, और वो वृत्तियां पैदा करती है, वो फ्लक्चुएशंस पैदा करती है, वो चेंजेस पैदा करती है, वो डिस्टर्बेंसेस पैदा करती है। तो इमेजिनेशन से हटिए, और जो आपको ड्रीम्स आते हैं नींद में, निद्रा में, वो जो ड्रीम्स जो हैं, वो एक्चुअली सबकॉन्शियस माइंड में आपके अगर कोई एक्टिविटी हो रही है और आप उसके प्रति अलर्ट हो रहे हैं, तो वो सपना है, वो आपको दिखाई देता है नींद में। तो आप अपने सबकॉन्शियस माइंड को पीसफुल स्टेट में रखिए, उसमें कॉन्शियसली पीसफुल थॉट्स डालिए, सात्विक थॉट्स डालिए। आप देखेंगे कि सबकॉन्शियस माइंड जब रेस्ट में आ जाएगा, पीस में आ जाएगा, तो नींद में आपके माइंड में फ्लक्चुएशंस आना बंद हो जाएंगी, ड्रीम्स जो हैं वो बंद हो जाएंगी, और ये वृत्ति भी कंट्रोल में आ जाएगी। ये है 5 वृत्तियां। अब इन 5 वृत्तियों का जो कारण है, वो बताया जाता है कि ये हमारे क्लेश और हमारे कर्मों से जुड़े हुए हैं। हमारे जो क्लेश है, जो हमारे अंदर योग के प्रति जो ऑब्स्टिकल्स बने हुए हैं, वो वृत्तियां पैदा करने में मदद करती हैं। और वो वृत्तियां पैदा करने में मदद इसलिए करती हैं क्योंकि हमारा जो कार्मिक अकाउंट है, उस कारण से हमारे क्लेश बने। तो जो वृत्तियां हम फेस करते हैं, जो हमारे अंदर आ रही हैं, वो कर्मों से भी जुड़े हैं और वो क्लेश से भी जुड़े हैं, और वो हमारे इन 5 एरियाज में, राइट नॉलेज, रॉन्ग नॉलेज, मेमोरी, इमेजिनेशन एंड स्लीप, इसमें हमको इफेक्ट करते हैं। इसमें वो वृत्तियां एक्चुअली सामने आती। तो अगर हम अपनी इग्नोरेंस रिमूव करेंगे, जो पहला क्लेश है कि मैं कौन हूं, अगर हम ये समझने लगेंगे कि मैं कौन हूं, सांख्य ये बोलता है कि मैं आत्मा हूं, और आत्मा को छोड़ के बाकी जो कुछ भी है वो प्रकृति है। अगर ये सिंपल बात आप समझ जाएंगे कि आप आत्मा हैं और बाकी सब प्रकृति है, तो यहीं पर ही आपकी मुक्ति है। क्योंकि जो वृत्तियां हो रही हैं, वो प्रकृति में हो रही है। जो क्लेश है वो प्रकृति में है, जो कर्म है वो प्रकृति में है, जो चित है वो प्रकृति में है। लेकिन हम अपने आप को माइंड और बॉडी समझते हैं, हम अपने आप को प्रकृति ही समझते हैं, इसलिए हम इन चीजों को एक्सपीरियंस करते हैं। हम कार्मिक अकाउंट एक्सपीरियंस करते हैं, हम क्लेशों को एक्सपीरियंस करते हैं, हम वृत्तियों को एक्सपीरियंस करते हैं, हम संस्कारों को एक्सपीरियंस करते हैं। हम ये नहीं हैं, हम सिर्फ पुरुष हैं, the unchangeable, the eternal, the permanent। और जो चेंजेबल है वो प्रकृति है। तो बाकी सब चेंजेबल है, वृत्ति चेंजेबल है। प्रकृति की क्वालिटी क्या है? रजस, तमस और सत। रजस मीन्स चेंज, prakriti means change, prakriti means motion, prakriti means action, Prakriti means form. Prakriti means inertia. Prakriti means weight. Prakriti means laziness. Prakriti means negativity. Prakriti means unconstructiveness. And Prakriti also means being nice, being constructive, being good. It is a mix of all. It is a mix of sattva, it is a mix of its opposite, tamas. And it is a randomly changing mix because of rajas. That is Prakriti. We get sucked into Prakriti. We think we are Prakriti. We believe we are Prakriti. We start behaving like Prakriti. And that is the cause of all the sorrow. So consider yourself as Purusha and leave the rest as Prakriti. But is it possible to do it straight away? You might not be able to do it straight away because your mental conditioning over many, many different life forms has made you realize that you are part of Prakriti. So he says, start working on your vrittis. Pick up some area and start working. Start working with your thoughts. And if you can go finer than the thoughts, then look at the quality of the thought. Look at the quality of the thought. Look at the guna of the thought. Is it a sattvic thought? Is it a tamasic thought? Is it a rajasic thought? If it is a sattvic thought, allow it to grow. You have the power to make a thought grow. If it is a rajasic thought, stop it. If it is a tamasic thought, bring in rajas and convert it into a sattvic thought. So when you start playing at the level of thought and at the level of gunas of thought, at the level of quality of thought, then you are working at a very fine level of nature, at a very deep, intrinsic, primordial position of nature, where whatever you change there will have a tremendous impact, not only on your life, but on the life of your generations. It will have an impact not only on the life of your generations, it might even have an impact on the life of humanity. So that thought and those qualities of that thought can be a workshop where you work continuously all your life, creating sat, creating the formless construct good thought, organizing those good thoughts into a right shape, right structure, right, I would say, mm, give it the right kind of foundation, the right pillars. So, whatever happens at the thought stage, and even at below, even at finer than the thought stage, will start turning into reality because it is a vritti which turns into a sanskara. It is a sanskara which turns into a karma. It is a karma which turns into further vrittis. So you will be planting the seeds of a tree which will give similar fruits and similar seeds for thousands and thousands of years. So work at the level of the thought, at the level of the guna of the thought. See what are you generating inside because it is not under your control. It is getting generated on its own. It is like a fire which is burning and moving in direction on its own. See what is Rajasic, see what is Tamasic, see what is Sattvic. Build the Sattvic part of it, give it shape, give it color, give it size, give it a purpose, allow it to grow. That is how you lay the seed of a new civilization. That is how you lay the seed of a new religion. That is what people like Buddha, people like Nanak, people like Christ have done. They have worked at below the thought level. They have worked at the level of vrittis. They have worked at the level of right knowledge and wrong knowledge. No right knowledge was right for them, no wrong knowledge was wrong for them. They went by what they were able to think, and that is what they presented before society. They did not go by the memory of their ancestors, they went by what came inside them. They came by what they interacted with Prakriti and took out of Prakriti. At the very primordial level, at the very core level, at the very basic level, at the very intrinsic level. They did not go by imagination. There was no fanciful thinking. They simply went by the fundamental that the seed has the tree in it and the tree will give seeds. So if you are working on sattvic thoughts, you will have a sattvic tree, and that sattvic tree will give sattvic thoughts. And those sattvic thoughts, sattvic seeds will again give sattvic trees. That is why today you find certain religions have grown in crores and crores of people. There are lakhs and lakhs of churches, lakhs and lakhs of mosques, lakhs and lakhs of gurdwaras, lakhs and lakhs of temples. Because somebody gave thought, thought at the very core, intrinsic, basic level. Okay? So that is where it all starts from. And what are the obstacles? The first obstacle is ignorance of who you are. Once when you realize that you can work at the level of Prakriti, you can create out of Prakriti whatever you desire, whatever you think is right, whatever you think is good, then you find that creation coming out of Prakriti. Because you must remember, Prakriti is here for the enjoyment and liberation of the Purusha. Prakriti has no other purpose. Prakriti is only and only for the Purusha. Purusha needs to come forward and work with Prakriti and take out what it wants. And the day the desires of the Purusha are over, Prakriti dissolves, Prakriti goes away, because the purpose of that Prakriti is done. The purpose of that Prakriti is over. It is no longer required. Though the Purusha and the Prakriti stay there, both of them are omnipresent, both of them are sort of eternal, but they don't engage because the job is done. Prakriti was supposed to deliver to Purusha, Prakriti has delivered to Purusha. And that is where liberation happens. That is where they become free from each other. Till then, they are engaged, are working together because something has to come. Purush and Prakriti are together to create babies. Babies come out of thoughts. That is the first element. Thoughts are Rajasic, Tamasic, or Sattvic. And below that, you have the unmanifest Prakriti. It is as simple as that. Okay? Yeah, so I was talking about the five obstacles to these vrittis. One is ignorance, second is ego, our ego. My ego limits me from working on my vrittis. My ego will stand up for right knowledge, fight for right knowledge, give dialogues, give speeches, probably even kill for what it thinks is right knowledge. Then you have attraction, getting pulled into something, sucked into something. That also creates tremendous vrittis. That creates addictions. Then you have repulsion. Repulsion is moving away from something with intensity. So it gives rise to hatred. It gives rise to enmity. And then the fear of death. Just because we do not know we are the Purusha, we think we are the body and we are the mind, and that is where we get trapped. We are not the body. We leave the body and go. And the chitta and the finer elements, they also leave the body and go. They go to the next body. And the Purusha also goes. So all my records, all my memories, all my internal things of the mind, of the intellect, of the ego, they carry forward. They go to the next life form. And the Purusha also goes to the next life form. It is only this body which is dropped. This body, which is made up of the five elements, is dropped. It decays. It fulfills its purpose and it is left. If within this life form you are able to work with Prakriti and get what you're supposed to get, then the job is actually done. But if you are unable to finish that job, then you come again. You come again to Prakriti in another life form. And then you fulfill that desire which you wanted out of Prakriti. It could be any desire. It could be any form of enjoyment. It could be any form of virtue. It could be any form of vice. It could be any form of liberation also. Anything. Prakriti can deliver anything. Prakriti is there to serve. Prakriti will only keep on giving and giving and giving and giving and giving and giving. And Purusha will keep on watching all that thanklessly. Purusha will not respond because he is Purusha, because he is changeless, because he is eternal, because he is consciousness. So this is what it is all about. And where are these vrittis stored? They are stored inside us, in our intellect, in our mind and ego. And where are these kleshas stored? These five kleshas are also stored there only, in the intellect, in the mind, and in the ego. So, what do we need to clean? We need to clean the intellect, the mind, and the ego. And how do we clean the intellect, the mind, and the ego? You can clean the intellect, the mind, and the ego by doing any visualization exercise where you see it getting clean. You can imagine that you are using uh, a detergent, and your intellect, your mind, and your ego are three clothes which you are washing with that detergent and rubbing it up and cleaning it up and making it white again, removing all the spots from it, all the dirt from it. So, in by this simple exercise, simple visualization, doing it for 10, 15 minutes a day can bring unbelievable changes. Alternatively, you can believe that when you were born, your intellect, your ego, and your mind were white in color, fresh, pure, and they have become dirty. They have become gray in color, black in color with time. So, the second visualization exercise can be you have paint with you, white paint with you, and you're painting them white again. You're making them pure. You're making them in the original state again. The third alternative can be you are praying to your Ishvara and you're telling him, Please clean up my intellect, my ego, and my mind. Make it super clean because only you can do it. Take it back to the original state in which I was born. And then gradually, over a period of time, you will suddenly find things around you changing, Prakriti changing. Your Ishvara will start working for you in the true sense. Because right now he's got on the job of purifying you. And when he's cleaning your chitta, these three make the chitta. Your sanskaras get clean. Your sanskaras of the past get clean. So automatically your life takes on a higher meaning, a higher quality, and you go into a different zone altogether. So this is how it helps to understand the Samkhya model of creation, and how can I work on it to make it better, and how can I achieve permanent happiness in the simplest possible way in my life on a regular basis. Yeah. Any questions?
Uh, Sanjay, see, one thing is you said even right knowledge is a vritti, right? So you said that also we should remove. But how do we live in this world without right knowledge? Because all our life we are engaged in getting the knowledge. Now you are saying remove it. So
You
that seems to
see,
be.
I will answer you. It's a good question because that is what the modern Western world believes. You know,
Yeah.
there are two sources of knowledge. One is what you take from outside, and the other is what you get from inside. When you are neat, when you are clean, when you are pure, the internal connection starts. It starts in the form of insights, it starts in the form of intuitions, it starts in the form of internal guidance, it starts in the form of an inner voice, it starts in the form of an inner compass, and then your life is taken through. Western world thinks that knowledge has to come from outside, and Western world knows that knowledge is power. So they are pumping in more and more knowledge because they believe by pumping in more and more knowledge, we are creating more and more power. But they are creating more and more powerful beings, yes, but more and more powerful, unhappy beings. That is where the mismatch is happening. That is where the balance is missing. So, as you start going inside, it is not that you get disconnected from that outside power. That outside power will remain, but the prominence of that outside power will diminish, and the prominence of the inside power will increase. And if you require the outside power in any situation, in any circumstance, it will come in full blast to you because the inner power will generate that energy and ensure that that outer power, outer knowledge comes to you in that instant. Suddenly, you will remember something which was needed at that moment. Otherwise, you might not even remember it, So this is how it operates. So you see, we say God is Nirakar, but he is omniscient. How is he omniscient if he has no akar? Where is he storing his knowledge? Yeah. So as you become subtler, you get connected to higher sources of knowledge, subtler sources of knowledge, but more powerful sources of knowledge. And that is where we need to go. That is the path.
Thank you very much. Though practically, from childhood, you put your daughter or son in school, they start mugging up pre-KG, LKG, first standard, second standard. क्या होता है? You keep reading more books, learning more stuff, mathematics, science, social studies, more and more and more. By the time you finish college, your brain cells are filled with knowledge, and then if you say vrittis is right knowledge causes vrittis, remove it. So obviously, you have to go the reverse direction. Anyway, that's one part of it. That's the reality of today's world. But yeah, uh, but I get your point. In fact, I just want to share. See, uh, there is this legend. Ramana Maharishi. He left school. Maybe he was in 8th or 10th standard. God knows which class he was in. He didn't show interest in studies. One day he ran away from home. We all know the story. He went to Tiruvannamalai, became a, he went into the stage of Samadhi and all that. So just to say that he never learned a lot of stuff that we all learned. He never learned because first of all he didn't show interest. He was very intelligent, by the way. He was extremely intelligent, but he didn't show interest in studies. He didn't show interest in worldly affairs. Then he did all this. After many years, what happened was he started writing treatises in different languages which he never learned. He wrote in Telugu, he wrote in Sanskrit, which he never learned. So people asked, "How do you know? I mean, you never learned these languages." He said, I don't know what answer he gave, but the fact of the matter is, for example, he wrote Upadesha Saram in Sanskrit, which he never learned. How did he do that? That's a question. So obviously, he got the knowledge from the vast reservoir that is there in the universe without ever formally studying it.
Yeah, you see, if you look at those five elements, the Panch Mahabhutas, the first element is Akasha. Okay. Akasha is formed out of Ahankara, first element. And Ahankara is Ahamkara. I am the doer. So there is a thought there now, right? It comes from Ahankara, comes from the cosmic intelligence. So there is no thought there. But when the Ahankara comes, when the individualization happens, there is a thought. I am the doer. This thought is the first vibration. And this vibration creates Akasha. And then that Akasha becomes a reservoir of thoughts, reservoir of all knowledge which has ever come. So people say that we are actually transmitters and receivers. We, at a subtler level, are able to receive information, and at a subtler level, are able to transmit information. So some people are highly intuitive, they can pick up, and some people are not all that intuitive because the nervous systems have been developed to different levels. Okay? So that could be a reason why it is possible to do it. But it is all very interesting. And you see, when I'm saying right knowledge is a vritti, uh, I remember once at Abhay place, we were having an alumni, Apresh was there. So Apresh said the best belief is to have no belief. You must have no belief. So I started pondering, why did he say that? And that is the beauty of that statement. It is so powerful. When you have no belief, that means all your neurons are free. And if you give it one thought to work on, your 100 billion neurons get into that activity of working on that one thought. the processing power just shoots up phenomenally, exponentially, and wonderful results start coming in. But if you are loaded with knowledge, if all your neurons are already full, complete, then there are no vacant neurons. Then what do you process with? Right? So you lose out on creativity, you lose out on innovation, you lose out on number of things. So probably that is the reason why he says it is a vritti. Remove it. Or rather,
Okay.
if you can't remove it, reduce it, control it, subdue it. Yeah.
Thanks.
सर मैं किड्स के रिलेटेड एक क्वेश्चन पूछना चाहती हूँ.
हाँ बोलिए.
अभी कुछ दिनों से ऐसे हो रहा है कि आई एम नॉट सीरियस, मतलब ज्यादा बात नहीं करना, अपने में ही रहना. तो मुझे बच्चे सीरियसली नहीं ले रहे. समथिंग
हाँ.
इज रॉन्ग फॉर मी, पर उनके लिए राइट है. एंजॉयमेंट, घूमना उनके लिए राइट है, कुछ चीजें उनके लिए राइट है. तो हु विल डिसाइड द व्हाट इज द राइट और व्हाट इज द रॉन्ग?
But why do you want to decide what is right and what is wrong?
अभी जैसे 3 to 4 आवर्स चले जाना, घूमना, पार्टीज करना, मेरे हिसाब से वो कुछ रॉन्ग्स है. और कुछ उनके हैबिट्स, अगर उनको
Okay.
कुछ बोलो तो बोलते उनको उसमें हैप्पीनेस मिलती है.
नहीं तो फिर मेरे ख्याल से आपको एक कन्वर्सेशन करना चाहिए और फ्रैंक हार्ट टू हार्ट कन्वर्सेशन करना चाहिए. उनको बोलना चाहिए कि आपके जो कंसर्न्स हैं वो आपको शेयर करना चाहिए.
सर
दैट कुड
बात
बी द.
हुई, पर वो नई जनरेशन है, उनके हिसाब से वो सब राइट है, सब करते हैं.
कोई बात नहीं, आपके जो कंसर्न्स हैं आप शेयर करिए कि मेरे को ये कंसर्न है, मेरे को ये चिंता है, इसलिए मैं तुम्हारे साथ शेयर करना चाहती हूँ. और तुम देखो अगर इसका कोई सॉल्यूशन निकल सकता है तो मेरे को बताओ. अभी बताने की जरूरत नहीं है, सोच के बताना. so that can be an alternative, allow them to think. हम लोग कई बार immediate solution चाहते हैं. allow them think. Yes, Sridhar, you can leave. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much. Again, a
Welcome.
wonderful session. But I'm unfortunately meditation and questioning further. I have questions, but I have no time now.
Okay.
So see you all next time. Thank you.
Yeah. Bye. Take care.
Bye.
Good morning, sir. Can I ask?
Yeah, please go ahead.
सर मेरी एक्चुअली तबीयत ठीक नहीं, इसलिए वॉइस आई डोंट नो क्लियर है कि नहीं.
क्लियर है, आप बोलिए.
ओके सर, आप कह रहे थे ना कि अपना फीडबैक दीजिए. तो एक वृत्ति अभी आज मैं जो पूछना चाह रही थी, आपने उसी से स्टार्ट किया, वृत्तियों से ही. तो जब से मैंने ये कोर्स आपका, मुझे हो गया स्टार्टिंग से 21 डेज से, जब से आपने स्टार्ट किया था मैंने कर रही हूँ. तो उसके बाद में मुझे काफी एक अपने नेचर में रिलीफ मिला और काफी शांत होने लग गई मैं. बट जैसे लगा कि हाँ बहुत चेंज आ गया. लेकिन somehow कभी कोई ऐसा मोमेंट जैसे आया 2 दिन पहले कि ट्रिगर करा किसी पॉइंट पे, जो एक एंगर का पॉइंट होता है, तो वो ट्रिगर हो गया. तो मुझे ये जानना है सर, वो जो वृत्ति थी उसको, जो मैं अभी तक मेडिटेशन करी थी, उससे वो सप्रेस हुई तो वो ट्रिगर करने से निकल गई, लेकिन उसको जला कैसे सकते हैं? आई होप आई एम एबल टू कन्वे.
नहीं, मैं आपका क्वेश्चन ठीक से समझ नहीं पाया, बट मैं कोशिश करता हूँ बोलने की. आप बताइएगा मैं सही समझा कि नहीं समझा. 2 दिन पहले कुछ ऐसा ट्रिगर आया जिससे कि आपको बहुत गुस्सा आ गया, और फिर आपने मेडिटेशन करके वो गुस्से का जो एलिमेंट था उसको आपने अपने मन से बाहर निकाल दिया.
नहीं सर, मतलब कि जो मैं अभी तक मेडिटेशन करी थी, जो मुझे लग रहा था मेरे अंदर चेंज आया, तो क्या उससे वो चीज सप्रेस हो गई थी, वो वृत्ति सप्रेस हो गई थी?
नहीं, देखिए ऐसा है ना कि ये एक कांस्टेंट जर्नी है, और हमारे पुराने संस्कार पूरे के पूरे एक साथ नहीं मिटते हैं, उसमें कई बार टाइम भी लगता है. और ये जर्नी में अप्स एंड डाउन्स होते हैं, सबके साथ होता है. मतलब संतों के साथ भी होता है, ऋषियों के साथ भी होता है, मुनियों के साथ भी होता है. आप देखेंगे कि कृष्ण के जीवन में भी ऊपर नीचे हो रहा था, राम के जीवन में भी ऊपर नीचे हो रहा था. तो ये सबके साथ होता है, ये जीवन है.
जी.
इसी को जीवन बोलते हैं, ठीक है। तो आप इसमें चलते रहिए, जो आपको जो साधना है वो करते रहिए, और वो अपने आप रंग लाएगा, अपने आप रिजल्ट देता रहेगा। और दिक्कतें आगे आती रहेंगी, ऐसा नहीं है कि नहीं आएंगी, लेकिन उनकी इंटेंसिटी आपको फील नहीं होगी, इंटेंसिटी उनकी कमने लगेगी।
हाँ सर, ये जरूर हुआ, जो इम्पैक्ट ज्यादा टाइम पहले रहता था वो कम हुआ, अब वो उतना इम्पैक्ट नहीं करा उसमें, ये तो रिलीफ रहा। लेकिन मैं सिर्फ ये जाना कि हम इसको आगे फर्दर इस वृत्ति को जला सकते हैं क्या?
आपको साधना जो है, प्रैक्टिस जो है, वो करते रहनी पड़ेगी, और जैसे जैसे आप ये प्रैक्टिस करते रहेंगे आपका इंटरनल पावर बढ़ने लगेगा। और जब ये बढ़ने लगेगा तो बाहर से जो अटैक आता है, बाहर से जो डिस्टरबेंस आता है, बाहर से जो स्टिमुलस आता है या ट्रिगर आता है, आपने ट्रिगर वर्ड यूज किया, उसका इम्पैक्ट आपके अंदर होना बंद हो जाएगा, क्योंकि अंदर वो पावर आ जाता है, माइंड पे कंट्रोल आ जाता है, माइंड स्टेबल हो जाता है, माइंड बैलेंस्ड हो जाता है। तो बाहर का जो ट्रिगर है वो अंदर डिस्टरबेंस पैदा नहीं करता है। आप आपकी शांति की लेवल बरकरार रहेगी।
ओके सर।
या तो मेडिटेशन करना है, 8:07 हुए।
ये सर मेडिटेशन करना है। मेडिटेशन तो सर वही तो एक पावरफुल टूल है इस कोर्स का।
ओके, तो हम लोग फिर ये मेडिटेशन करते हैं कि हम ईश्वर से ये प्रार्थना कर रहे हैं कि हमारे चित्त को पूरा का पूरा शुद्ध कर दे, प्योर कर दे, प्यूरिफाई कर दे। जैसे कोई उसको पूरा का पूरा सादा कर दे, उसके अंदर की पूरी गंदगी निकाल दे, जैसे उसके ऊपर में पूरा का पूरा व्हाइट पेंट सा लगा दे कि वो बिल्कुल चमकता हुआ नया सा हमारी बुद्धि हो जाए, हमारा मन हो जाए, और हमारा जो अहंकार है वो साफ सुथरा हो जाए। ठीक है, क्लियर है सबको?
यस।
यस, ओके। तो प्लीज अपने कंफर्टेबल पोजीशन में बैठ जाइए, बॉडी को रिलैक्स कर लीजिए, आंखें बंद कर लीजिए, और ईश्वर से ये प्रार्थना करिए कि आपके मन, बुद्धि और अहंकार तीनों का शुद्धिकरण करे, और तीनों को प्योर वाइट कलर से पेंट कर दे, ताकि वो बिल्कुल साफ सुथरे और क्लीन हो जाए। प्लीज स्टार्ट। That's all. Yeah, so can we close?
Sir, I want to ask a question. Just a second, please.
Yeah.
सर एक तो प्लीज म्यूट कर दीजिएगा सबको, क्योंकि बहुत डिस्टरबेंस होता है मेडिटेशन में।
Okay.
दूसरा सर, जैसे आपने बोला कि ऊपर जाके हम उसको क्लीन करते हैं, आपने क्लीन करने के लिए बोला, तो अगर हम उसको क्लीन कर देंगे तो सर जो हमारी नॉलेज है क्या वो भी ब्लॉक हो जाएगी?
नहीं, हम जो गंदगी है उसको क्लीन कर रहे हैं, जो इम्प्योरिटी है उसको क्लीन कर रहे हैं। नॉलेज जो है वो प्योर रहता है।
तो ये खुद से फिल्टर हो जाता है सर?
हाँ
जब मैं
देखिए,
वही मेरा ब्लॉक आ गया था कि मैं जब बोल रही हूँ कि मुझे ये क्लीन कर दीजिए, तो
हाँ,
वही एक ब्लॉक था, एक क्वेश्चन था, तो मेरा तो सारा नॉलेज ब्लॉक हो जाएगा।
नहीं नहीं, अब हम बात कर रहे हैं प्यूरिफिकेशन की, क्लीनिंग की।
हम्म।
और या ठीक है, तो
ओके।
आप इसको दोबारा कर लीजिएगा और
हम्म।
आई एम श्योर आपके लिए इजी रहेगा।
ठीक है सर, ठीक है।
ठीक है, चलिए फिर। हाँ, ओके।
ओके, थैंक यू सर।